Hey, I'm Lindsay Lyman. I worked almost 12 years at Amazon and saw so many brilliant and successful overachievers burn themselves out and leave their jobs because they're so stressed and anxious. But guess what? Having a successful career does not have to be at the expense of your mental sanity and personal time. There's an easier way, and I can show you how. Let's do this. Hey y'all, how's it going? Hey, good news. I offer some free coaching if you're interested in getting some help, if you just want to connect, if you're feeling stuck on something, even if you just need a place to vent and a sanity check. I want to connect. Go to lindsaylymancoaching.com/chat, or there's a link in the show notes, and grab some time on my calendar. But I would love to connect. And if you've ever been coaching curious or wanting to just get some help, this is a free resource available to you. There's no strings attached. There's no commitment for anything. There's no cost associated with it. All you got to do is just get on my calendar and show up. So grab a spot. I would love to chat with you and hear what's going on. Today's topic has come up from some of these free coaching sessions I've done. And I was actually connecting with another group that's having me come in and present to some of their leadership team and help kind of conduct a workshop with their folk. And they brought up a really good one that I actually hear pretty frequently. And I'm excited to talk to you about it today around what do you do to keep growing your career now that there's a lot of hiring freezes or hiring is significantly slowing down at a lot of companies. That's not to say there are not still jobs available. And if you're looking for a job, there are tons of opportunities out there, and I would encourage you to listen to this episode as well, because I'm going to talk about some things that I think will be helpful for you. But in essence, I want to talk about how do you keep growing when it feels like there's not as many opportunities at that next level, when you really just don't know what to do to keep growing your career, because things are no longer the same. In the corporate setting, we're in this very ambiguous in-between state. Things are really in limbo. People are hesitant to commit and to plan too far in the future because what we do know is that we don't know. And we expect things to continue to change. Now, they have always changed, let's be honest, but I think the last couple of years have really just kind of shaken all of us. And we still have a little bit of PTSD that we're processing and dealing with. So a lot of companies are still kind of in this transition phase of figuring out how do they become more frugal? Do they have the right headcount? Do they have the right tools and resources in place? So it kind of means there's a lot of reorgs and restructures and changing happening. And while these changes are happening, again, I get it. It feels challenging. It feels hard. I even have a few clients who have been reorged into new positions. And while they're grateful they have a job, it's not the job they came to do. And for some of them, it's a significant change in their job and in their career. I also have some clients that really just feel stuck because there is no longer a clear path forward. Positions don't exist. And there's a lot of people wanting to grow. And on top of that, so many of my clients are really questioning the leaders that they're working with because they've lost a little bit of trust or security based on how they've handled some of the recent changes in the workforce. So I get it. It makes sense. You're probably feeling stuck and confused and just not sure what to do. The first thing I want to tell you is this is not the first time something like this has happened. I think of my dad, whom I have a lot of respect for. He's always worried people aren't going to have a job, right? I think back to when he was younger in his workforce. He grew up writing things on paper, sending faxes, and you would call people on the phone. Computers were not a common thing when he was in his early career, and so things have changed a lot. And so he's talked a little bit about some of the changes and growth he went through as technology improved. And now that we're in this state of AI and ChatGPT and all of the other machine learning options out there, I hear him make comments and worry a little bit about what are the jobs going to be. But here's the reality. Things have always been shifting, and it's okay. We're going to figure it out, and it's also okay to be uneasy along the way. Because the thing is, your brain is a brilliant problem solver, but your brain is also wired to optimize to save energy. So your brain obsesses and does everything it can to take the easy route forward. And the easy route to career growth is, hey, lay out the plan, give me the checklist, tell me what's the path, and I'm going to go after and I'm going to go do it. But here's the thing. True career growth doesn't happen in those easy parts. It doesn't happen when you're given a very clear path and plan and it all goes according to plan. Because the other thing is it never goes according to plan. Where you start to grow and develop additional skills and figure out more of what you do and don't want to do when you grow up is what happens and the growth you have when things are hard. You look at like a stereotypical traditional career path is you start out as an individual contributor, you move to a manager, and eventually you move to a higher level leader. The reason it's hard to make each of those steps is it's hard to go from a student to someone that's like working full time as an individual contributor. That's a big shift. Like I remember the first summer, I didn't have summer off and I was working. I was like, this is terrible. Then you go from being an individual contributor to a manager. It's a huge shift again, because what worked for you in that previous stage of your career no longer works. Not only do you have to start over kind of and learn new things and deal with new challenges and problems and develop new strengths, but you have to do it at a higher level because now you're not just an individual contributor trying to deliver on goals and projects. Now you're trying to manage the people that are doing that. And then you're trying to lead and inspire and make up the strategy behind that. So what I want you to see is the space you're in today. It's kind of the same thing that's happening. Maybe it's not a traditional career growth of individual contributor to manager to leader, but what worked before may not keep working in the future. It may, but it may not. But here's the good news I have for you. Guess what? You get to make it up. It's true. You really do. You get to make it up. I think back to my dad and in his early career, he had no way of knowing what types of jobs were going to exist today. New ones are being created and made up all the time. I think of a conversation I heard between my dad and my older sister where, again, he was talking about he's always worried that there's not going to be enough jobs for our kids and things. And my sister was saying, but no, there's just going to be new ones created. Look, for example, at a social media influencer, someone who goes on social media and recommends certain products, services, clothes, what have you, and people go and buy it and follow these people and engage with them, and those people make money. My dad didn't see that job coming. He didn't know about the internet back in the day. He didn't know about social media and how affiliate links work or corporate sponsorship was going to work. And it's okay. He didn't need to know. But what I want you to see is new jobs are being created all the time. The fun comes in figuring out where there's an opportunity to help and serve people and making up a job to do that. Okay, so first I want you to remember, it's not bad news. This is where you get to grow, where you get to go and make it up. The second thing to remember, your job, it's not what makes you grow. Things on your to-do list, goals assigned to you, projects you need to deliver on, that's not what makes you grow. Your team doesn't make you grow. How many people you directly or indirectly manage, that's not what makes you grow. Where you grow is where you figure out new things. Figuring out where to take your career now, guess what? This is a new thing. Go and grow into it. Go make it up. Go try some new things. What's next? What do you want? What do you not want? One of the tools I use all the time with my clients, and if you're one of my clients, listen up, you'll understand this at a deeper level. It's a model where it basically helps you understand, based on things that are happening outside of your control, how you're thinking about it ultimately creates a result for you, because what you think makes you feel things. And based on how you're feeling, you do and don't do certain things. And depending on what you're doing and not doing, that's going to give you a particular result in your life. What I love about this coaching model is you can put any result you want in this model and build it backwards. So if the result you're trying to create is my career is growing like gangbusters, if we're working on that model backwards, what are the things you would need to go and do or not do to create that result for you? My guess is if you sat down and really focused and really thought about it, you could come up with like 20 things to go and do. That's not the problem. The problem isn't you don't know what to do. You're going to go try 500 different things. You're going to propose new ideas. You're going to make up a job, write a job description, and pitch it to someone. You're going to create a program at your company where people rotate every 6 months to figure out what do they want to do when they grow up. You're going to try the old way. You're going to ask 500 times and get told no, because statistically, someone's going to say yes. I think of it as like if your life depended on you being able to figure out how to grow your career, you could come up with some things. So if you want the result of your career is growing, you ultimately know what to do and not do. The problem isn't you don't know what to do. The problem is you don't feel like doing it. You don't feel confident enough and secure enough and excited enough and driven and focused to go and try 500 things and have 499 of them fail. You're feeling scared. You're feeling stuck. You're feeling worried. So of course you're not going to go do those things. So if we need to go and do 500 different things, we want to be feeling driven and focused and open and motivated and curious and hopeful. These things don't come from your job. They don't come from your manager. They don't come from your skip manager. They don't come from leveling guidelines. They don't come from career guidelines or career tips and success. They come from your brain and the beliefs you have and the meaning you're giving to your career. If you're sitting there thinking, well, I just don't know what to do now. There aren't as many jobs and people aren't hiring. Of course, you're not going to feel driven and motivated and excited, and you're not going to do anything. You're going to sit there and feel like it's hard and just be confused. It's okay if that's where you're at. But if you really do want to go grow your career, you got to learn to manage your brain, manage what you're choosing to focus thinking on. I'm going to give you a few other thoughts you're allowed to start believing today. Instead of telling yourself this is hard, I just don't know what to do. You know what you could say? I'm going to go figure out one thing to try today. You know what I believe? You're really good at finding creative solutions when things don't go according to plan at work. Guess what? Your career path, it maybe isn't going according to plan. Tell yourself, I'm really good at finding creative solutions. I bet I can figure this out. You know what's another really empowering thought? There's no rush. I also like to remind myself, figuring it out is where I grow. It's not in landing the next job. That's not growth. You're going to grow making it up and learning how to get there, and reaching that goal is where you're going to grow. Choose how you want to think about your career on purpose. That growth only comes from you. It only happens when you figure out the how. You can't copy someone else's career path and grow in the same way they did, because they've already done it and made up a path, and you're going to draft off of that. That's fine. I'm not saying you need to make it hard and do everything on your own, but if you really want to grow, you need to go make it your own. Stop waiting for those leaders or that company that you don't really trust to do it for you, to make a plan, to make a path, to spell out the details for you. Go make it up for yourself, because then you get to make it exactly how you want. Be willing to be told no along the way. The faster you get no's, the faster you're going to figure out what the yes is. So, this is not the first time people have been in this spot. It's okay. This is where your growth is going to happen. You get to make it up, but choose on purpose how you want to think about establishing what the next steps in your career are. What you think is extremely important. What you tell yourself about your career growing is even more important than trying to figure out the how. Because what you think about it is going to dictate how you feel. And if you feel stuck and frustrated and annoyed, the how is going to be significantly more challenging to find. You can figure it out. It's okay. All right, my friends, you got this. You're amazing. We'll talk soon. If what you're learning from this podcast is helping, this is just the beginning. Each week, I offer a limited number of coffee chats so that you and I can connect one-on-one and talk specifically about what's going on for you. You'll leave this call feeling more hopeful and motivated, but I'm also going to teach you a few things to try right away to get unstuck. Space is very limited and these are free, so grab your spot before they're gone. Click the link in the show notes or go to lindsaylymancoaching.com/chat and sign up today. You got this.